Alright, Sonic Forces sucked, and since Sega and Sonic Team feel that they can just half-ass their biggest franchise, I'm here today to half-ass a video giving my thoughts on it. No structure here, just gonna sit here for a few minutes and spew verbal diarrhea about why this game is a steaming pile of crap. Despite the fact that I heard from numerous people that this game was bad, and I'll admit, like many others, I was expecting it to be, I was still willing to give the game a fair shot, and I did finish the game. Not that that's really saying much, because the campaign is short as fuck. I'll just start this off by giving a simple disclaimer to the rest of the video. Is this the worst, most boring, and technically flawed game I've ever played? No. That one goes to Sonic Boom. But this is yet another badly designed, overhyped, and unfocused 3D Sonic game. At first glance, this game looks very similar to Sonic Generations, which in all fairness wasn't a bad game, but that's about where the similarities stop. This entire game feels like a bootleg version of Generations. There's absolutely no reason for Classic Sonic to be here, like at all. Not only does he feel completely shoehorned in and out of place, especially when it comes to the story, but he controls like absolute shit. I don't know what happened since Generations, everything about Classic Sonic's gameplay just feels completely wrong. It's as if the people who worked on his movement and mechanics had never played a Sonic game in their entire life. Like, it quite literally feels like a bunch of dudes just, like, saw gameplay of Generations once and then didn't actually touch a controller and then went, oh, okay, let's do that thing. Classic Sonic does not carry momentum, so there's many instances where you'll just go down a big slope only to stop halfway up a small slope or incline once reaching the bottom. And I may be wrong here, but as far as I can tell, curling into a ball actually slows Sonic's momentum. I may be wrong, and I hope someone in the comments proves me wrong, because the idea of that is just fucking insane. Like, I can't really say for sure, but all I know is that when I play a classic Sonic game, or like Mania, and I'm like going down a thing, and then I press down to curl into a ball, it makes me go fast, and that doesn't happen in this game. I don't know why that is. So yeah, Classic Sonic is pointless and not fun, and it's even more apparent after playing the fucking masterpiece that is Sonic Mania. Now onto the Avatars gameplay. It's not horrible, but it's not exactly fun either. It's pretty much a less fun version of modern Sonic's gameplay. And while I'm sure a lot of fans really liked being able to play as their own avatar, a huge portion of the game is devoted to the avatar, and it kind of pissed me off. I mean, the gameplay isn't that drastically different, but I guess if I had to compare it to something, it would be like the backlash that fans gave Halo 5, and how you play most of that game as the Spartan Locke and not Master Chief. And although the gameplay, especially in that game, was virtually identical, fans of the franchise don't really want to play as some random new Spartan. They want to play as hero and main character that they've grown to love. And although I realize that both situations aren't exactly the same, because in this game you do play as your own character that you made, I also don't think that both situations are that vastly different either. And that's what annoyed me most about the Avatar stages. It's the first entry in the main 3D Sonic series since Lost World, and most of the game is played as either not Sonic, or a shitty version of Sonic shoehorned in because Sega thinks trying to sell nostalgia over and over is a better business move than making a good game. Who wants to play Green Hill Zone for the 47th goddamn time? Newsflash, dude. Want to know why Mania worked? Because it was fucking good. And the funny thing about that is that where that game shines most is in its original content. And the only reason the old stages were even brought back in that game was because Sega keeps trying to rely on nostalgia to sell their games. But I fucking digress. Now on to modern Sonic. If you've played Generations or any other Boost Formula Sonic game, you know what you're in for. Except this time, the stages are about half as long. And much like the other Boost Formula games, to me, it just feels very auto-runny. I know this gameplay style is loved by a lot of fans, but I never really feel like I'm doing anything. If anything, modern 3D Sonic gameplay feels a lot more like some kind of racing game than a platformer. I don't necessarily hate it, and I won't deny that the flashiness of it is entertaining, but it always felt to me like it was lacking actual substance. And while I'm at it, I never really liked the side-scrolling parts of Generations or Colors either. Something about 2D Sonic gameplay being converted to 3D in the same engine just always felt off to me. All the level design spanning all three playstyles is very basic and unimaginative. It isn't necessarily bad by any means, but it really was not memorable or exciting. I feel like I don't even really need to mention this, but the story is ridiculously stupid. I know a lot of Sonic fans seem to like the over-the-top storytelling, and you know what? It would not bother me if half of my time spent on the game wasn't spent listening to dialogue. Not cutscenes, mind you, dialogue. And the cutscenes the game did have Well, I don't know how many of you have played this game on Xbox One, but the Xbox One version has horrible fucking screen tearing due to the game having adaptive VSync. This isn't quite as noticeable during 60 FPS gameplay, but during the 30 FPS cutscenes, it's just absolutely unbearable, as you can see. The only good thing about this, however, is that because of the adaptive VSync, the Xbox One version is the most precise in terms of lag. The PS4 version suffers from some very slight input delay due to the PS4's triple buffering. And the Switch version suffers from the same issue due to the fact that it runs in 30 FPS. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will comment saying you played through it just fine, but for me, and people who are very aware of even slight lag or input delay, it's very, very apparent. Man, this is just a very, very flawed game where you spend the majority of the game not even playing as the main character. Big surprise. And it just leaves a whole lot to be desired, especially after playing a game as exciting and engaging as Sonic Mania. Sonic Team had some pretty big shoes to fill after the critical acclaim of Mania, and it's pretty fucking sad that they couldn't even make a product that even holds a candle to it. I'm not sure if it's a lack of talented developers or just Sega resting on Sonic's laurels, but something's gotta change here. I really hope either Sonic Team can get their shit together or hire some new blood that actually know what makes a good Sonic game, because this shit is just unacceptable for what's supposed to be a company's flagship franchise. But fuck it, who am I kidding? In the fans' eyes, they've all pretty much been conditioned to think if a game isn't the worst thing ever, that makes it good. After all, the game is functional, so fans will eat this shit up and Sega will keep putting out mediocre garbage every few years while Sonic fans grovel at their feet like victims of Stockholm Syndrome. Can we please just get Sonic Mania 2? Fuck.